This is the Merry Poppins choir, a choir I've been a part of for a year now. This is a women's choir that was founded by a woman named Lenore Oren back in 2018.
Time to close your eyes, sleep can come, for when you dream you find all that's lost is found.
The choir director, arranger, and pianist.
The choir was a way for me to access musicals. Yeah, I was trained classically, and then I ended up having most of my students singing pop. Some of them sang musicals, and then I thought, yeah, why not? Why not choir?
The Merry Poppins choir is primarily a musical theater choir, singing songs from musicals such as Merry Poppins and The Sound of Music, or newer ones like Disenchanted and Merry Poppins Returns. My personal connection to the choir is that I arranged one of their songs that they're singing this season, which is a 3-voice a cappella arrangement of Arabian Nights from Aladdin.
Night, Arabian nights, like Arabian days.
Which is the first piece I've ever arranged and then have performed, which I'm very proud of. A lot of the girls recognized me from having arranged Arabian Nights, and they thought it was really cool. I got lots of compliments and stuff. A few weeks ago, I went to the Amsterdam branch of the choir, which I have not attended before, to observe the rehearsal. And the main questions I was asking myself are, what is the vibe? Like, what is the ambience like? How do the choir members and the director and the choreographer as well, how do they interact with each other? What are the interpersonal relationships like that are present? How does diversity when it comes to backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, and for example, the diversity in age, how does that come into play here? I was primarily interested in seeing how a passion like musical theater and singing can bring people together who are very different. And I thought that one of the first things that I should look at was Lenore's rehearsal style, basically her method when directing, because the way she behaves and the way that she leads the rehearsal does set the tone for everyone else. Before rehearsal starts, Lenore always chooses to start with a physical warm-up. This physical warm-up includes stretches, side stretches, shoulder rolling, a neck and face massage. According to her, this improves your singing because it loosens up the body, gets you active in your body with the rest of the people in the group, which kind of leads you to be also more open and more comfortable, I would say. After this, there's a vocal warm-up, which includes like ascending and descending scales, using both consonant and vowel sounds. And Lenore always tries to involve the body in some way because the voice is very much tied to the rest of the body. It's very much a physical thing. A great example of such an exercise would be the oh yeah exercise.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Bouncing on the knees, you're missing on the fun.
Ze brengt ook heel goed alles enthousiast ook op een leuke manier. Want je hebt ook wel eens dat je dirigenten die zijn echt heel streng, dan sla ik weer dicht. Dus zij maakt het toch heel toegankelijk voor iedereen. En toch...
Zou je zeggen dat Lenore echt ook deel van de groep is?
Ja. Het staat niet apart.
Ja.
Normaal is dat bij een koor vaak wel.
Ja. Dus jullie hebben vooral een positieve indruk van haar repetitiestijl en hoe ze iedereen aan het werk krijgt.
Vooral op de positieve manier feedback geven.
Dat is haar kracht wel, vind ik.
Dat is zeker haar kracht.
What I also have noticed is the way that Lenore chooses to give feedback, which is very much utilizing of the idea of the feedback sandwich.
You're too musical for your own good. To slow down, they're playing Little Princess in a magic wood. I'm not gonna do that. Okay. Oh, no. Even though it's musical, we're not gonna.
So in this situation, the girls, when they're singing, they want to slow down to emphasize a certain line, which would musically make sense, according to Lenore, and she tells them that. She commends them for having that musical sensibility, but then ultimately tells them that she's ultimately decided not to slow down there for other reasons. Almost every bit of criticism that she has and feedback that she has for the girls includes a compliment somehow. And I feel like as one of her students, this method is quite effective, a positive reinforcement, because it leads to a very comfortable learning environment.
You know, she's really putting, not pressure, but she's really like want us to improve and excel and be there, and that's why it's, and she does it perfectly. You know, every Saturday she's there, she's funny. I love it.
Lenore always tries to emphasize the acting part of singing when it comes to the songs, because musical theater is primarily acting. We have to act through our singing.
It needs to have a little bit of a humor in it, yeah? You don't know it's funny, and that's what makes it funny, yeah? Yeah, but just mainly in the character, yeah? More like giddiness, even though it's not so heavy. It's a bit mad, so do it mad. And a lot of sass. Yeah?
The Merry Poppins choir also has a choreographer for some songs. Her name is Sammy, and I feel like the way she leads her part of the rehearsal is also very reminiscent of the way Lenore does. While they were rehearsing the choreography when I was there was this moment in which the girls weren't really sure who did a certain move first, like either the altos or the sopranos had to do the move. And Sammy said, "Oh, you know, it doesn't matter who does it first, but you have to decide. You decide," she said. And so the girls discussed amongst each other whether the altos or the sopranos would do the move first, and they ended up deciding that the altos would. Moments like these in the rehearsal, as well as when Lenore leads the rehearsal and someone corrects her, or someone gives a suggestion for the piece, for the arrangement, signals to me that neither Lenore or Sammy, as leaders of the rehearsal, are not closed off to feedback from the girls themselves. This is very different from the usual directive approach that happens in choirs and stuff, where the director or the conductor, they're the leader, everyone listens to them, and there is no opportunity and no room for any feedback, any input. In the model proposed by Sam Hayden and Luke Windsor, they talk about these three methods or three approaches to rehearsals, as in group rehearsals with either choirs or orchestras, etc. He talks about the directive approach, which is an entirely top-down line of direction from composer or conductor to performer. And then there's also the collaborative approach, in which a group, usually a small group, works together, collaborates, and they all together they lead the rehearsal or the musical event. In the interactive approach, there is still a leader, but they allow feedback and input from bottom up. And I think this is predominantly where Lenore's method or style of rehearsing and leading fits. And I think what's important to note is that to the members, Lenore is part of the group. She does not stand outside of the group. They see her as one of them. And that is because Lenore creates a space and an environment in which everyone is comfortable, in which friendships can blossom. She creates a sense of community among all of her members, including herself. And she does this despite, the huge diversity and difference among members. I don't think even half of the choir is natively Dutch. On the day that I was there, about 40% were Dutch, and then 60% were international. People from the US, people from Turkey, Spain, Portugal, France, Germany, anywhere. And the age is also very much varied. I think they range from around girls in their 20s to women in their 70s or something like that.
I love our diversity. I really love I think it's just part of it. Part of the Merry Poppins choir. It's just nice to have diversity, people coming from every countries, Turkey and stuff like that, and Pakistan. So it's really nice to actually meet those people. Yeah.
En wat vinden jullie er ook van dat het zo internationaal is?
Ja, ik vind dat leuk. Ja, ik vind dat leuk. Maar wij voelen ons gewoon op ons gemak, gewoon bij iedereen.
Ik vind dat heel erg leuk, want ik vind het niet leuk om in oudere dameskoor te zitten.
Nee, dat is niks voor ons.
In psychology, a sense of community is a vague term, but it can somewhat be measured. For example, the psychologist David Macmillan has proposed a model for a sense of community, and that involves 4 principal factors. First is the membership. Very simple, you need to have a shared identity with the people involved. In this case, they're all part of Mary Poppins choir, and they all love musicals. Second is influence. You need to be able to have some influence on this community, and as we've established, rehearsals are interactive, so members can have influence on the rehearsals themselves, on the conductor, and on other members as well. The third is integration and fulfillment of needs. So this one, I think, is present in at least 2 different capacities. For example, when a member has any questions about a certain part of a song or how it goes, or like they can just ask the person beside them, or they can ask Lenore. In that way, their need to understand is fulfilled. But of course, there's also the need for socializing, which I think is definitely also fulfilled, as the girls are always like chatting before rehearsal starts, during the break, and after the rehearsal. The girls often hang out outside of rehearsal. And I think because of that social interaction, both among the members and with Lenore, the conductor, there exists an emotional connection, a shared emotional connection. They share important life experiences with one another. They're honest about their personal lives and like what they're excited about or what they're sad about, what they're disappointed by. They share their emotions and they are honest and authentic with one another. And I think all of that put together creates the sense of community as I saw it and as I experience it in the Mary Poppins choir. And finally, if further research were to be conducted on this specific case study of the Mary Poppins choir, my research question would be, how does choir director Lenore Oren help to foster a sense of community within the Mary Poppins choir using the Haydn and Windsor model of approaches in collaboration and the composer, as well as Macmillan's psychological model of a sense of community?